Wes, a while back, people were kind of petitioning the channel, petitioning me, petitioning GamesCast to get a tornado cam. And man, if I could have that camera on right now, people would be kind of creeped out. This is some horror movie shit going on over here. It's just like she's sitting on the floor, about 3 feet away, staring deep into my eyes, staring back into her, just absolutely soulless, unblinking eyes. I think she's
Pet
speaking to
Cemetery
me.
vibes.
Yes, dude. Yes. I mean, like, I would not be surprised if it went that direction. So, and I would just so everyone knows, I absolutely would have a tornado cam if she would just fucking pick a place to sit. it's it's everywhere. I would need somebody directing that camera at all times, just following her around. But
No, you just need to get a ring cam and put it on her collar, and
oof,
have tornado POV cam.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, man. I've watched a lot of horror YouTube videos about ring cams. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to see what Tornado sees. I bet she sees some crap go down here that I don't want to know about.
She sees dead people.
Well, unfortunately, that makes two of us. Wes, let's get the show started. There's got to be a number of people out there, and I know this because I flip through YouTube. And sometimes I stop on videos and go, is it just going to be this image and people talking? Like, why aren't there? So there's got to be people out there who are flipping by this on YouTube and go, this is the whole show. It's just the thumbnail with people talking behind it. So let's make sure that those people know that there's a real show. You ready for this?
Please, let's do it.
Sweet. This is PSVR Gamescast Live. We film live. I didn't want to start until you were on the screen, Wes. Every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Wise Friday right here on YouTube. We do it live, 6 p.m. Eastern for your viewing pleasure. But we also care so much about your oral pleasure. That's why our good friend RidePod puts us up on podcast services of your choice. And if you're impatient, then the silence must be killing you. Our good friend Waleed and Rody the GameCat Army General put timestamps into the show after all is said and done. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here without parole. And this gentleman over here to my left, your right, it's Wes Dillon from Virtual Strangers. Yay.
Hello, Brian. Hello, Brian. Hello, cats. Happy West Day to you all. Yeah. How's it going?
It's going.
You're gonna have to bear with me this week, Brian. I am extremely fatigued and sleep deprived, and so my creative juices are dry today. So much like my sense of humor.
Would a little Astroglide do the trick by any chance? Would that help lube up your? Anyway, it's okay, Wes. We are on.
Never failed me before, Brian.
We are on. This is the third video in 2 days. We were just talking about this before. Third video in 2 days about the VR Games Showcase. So this will hopefully put the topic to rest. We're going to make sure we do a nice little deep dive into it, our thoughts, etc. And really, we didn't prepare for the show at all. So if you're expecting some kind of really thought-provoking episode of Gamescast, well, then you haven't been watching the channel very long. Wes, however, you had an awesome stream on your channel last night, and so if you are looking to get a little bit more into the Flat2VR side of things, a little bit more into the impact reality side of things, and curious about some of the information that might not have been known prior, there's a nice, 3 hours you guys did last night on Virtual Strangers?
Yeah, a little bit over 3 hours, which might sound long, but I think that is the first sub 4-hour stream that we've done since like November or something. So yeah, we had a nice 3-hour discussion. Eric joined us for the first time in months, and we basically did a little behind the scenes with Flat2VR, kind of talked about some of our thought processes and some of the kind of things that happened as we were building the showcase out in recent weeks. Talked about some of the titles we revealed, and then we kind of went through the highlights of the rest of the show. And another really cool thing about the episode was it was the first ever appearance, the origin story of Miles Dyer on the Virtual Strangers channel. So um, that was cool in and of itself.
Nice. Oh man, I missed that. I missed that. As I was leaving, Miles was in the chat saying, "Should I join?" And I was like, "Oh, am I gonna leave right before? I gotta go." Okay. So although Varglesoft called me out, he knows that when I'm in your chat, it's just me killing time. Because I'm uploading a video on my channel. So I'm like, here, my buddy's streaming. I guess I'll hang out and talk to him for the next 20 minutes while my video uploads. He called me out. He knew what was going on. So, it happens, but always a fun time. And so if you guys are unfamiliar somehow with all of the epic live streams over on Virtual Strangers, make sure you click the link in the description below and go join Wes and his friends that cover all things VR, not just PSVR2, all VR.
All of VR. Except for Pico. Screw that thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you might say screw that thing, but there are certain games coming out for Pico and not PSVR2 for some reason. I don't know what the rationale is behind that.
Well, I will just say this, and experience has led me to believe that just because something doesn't get revealed with PSVR2 support listed doesn't necessarily mean that it's not coming to PSVR2. It just means it's not coming anytime soon.
Right. Yeah, actually there was a decent article over on Upload VR. The very first game, I guess we can just jump right into it because why not? The very first game that was revealed over on Jamie Feltham's VR Games Showcase was Forefront, which is the new game by Triangle Factory, developers of Breachers. It's 32 players online, and they actually are, I guess, surprised everyone by saying it was going to come to Quest 2. I think a lot of developers are jumping ship and saying, we're not bringing our game to Quest 2. We're going to move on, but then they didn't say anything about PSVR 2. It was like, okay, interesting choice of platforms. So it obviously citing multiplayer support, it's almost like necessary that they support the Quest 2 for anybody who hasn't upgraded to a Quest 3 yet. And it all makes sense to me. But without PSVR 2 support, I think a lot of us were left a little disappointed. But reading up on, I'm trying to bring up the article right now, which is why I'm speaking in pieces. Is this it? This is it. Not bringing it to PSVR 2 was a little bit confusing, and they clarified here in this article. So let's scroll down all the way to wherever they said it. Here we go. Nope. Yep. Nope. Oh, here we go. Whew, way further down the article than I expected it to be. But man, it's scrolling through some really good screenshots here. Let's see. They wanted to support Quest 2 given its recent discontinuation, stating that over 50% of players in the ecosystem still use Quest 2. It's a lot of players, Wes. He believes it shouldn't be forgotten just yet. Bots will join a game if you don't have a full 32-player loadout, and cross-platform multiplayer will be supported. That's good to hear. Then he says, they say the studio can't commit to PlayStation VR 2 release yet, but they are looking at the idea. They explained that Breacher's PSVR 2 port was quite time-consuming and faced delays before launching in December 2023. If such a port does happen for Forefront, it'll be post-launch. Again, this is coming to MetaQuest, Steam VR, and Pico. So this is basically the game I was thinking of when you were saying that. It doesn't. I like that they're not ruling it out. I do feel as though gamers have to be patient. More developers are getting on board with PSVR 2, but there are going to be developers like this who are saying, "Hey, listen, dude, getting through certification must have been a beast for them. It must have been really difficult." And I think the last thing that they want to be doing right now when they're developing a new game is also dealing with Sony certification. So this is a game that I feel like we're going to get news about a PSVR 2 port of within by the end of 2025, I think we'll be hearing about that. Do you agree?
Um, Probably. It's one of these things where these smaller teams, they don't want to bite off more than they can chew. They're very goal oriented, and they need to set milestones for themselves to work toward. And for them, there's only one date, and that is the date that they're able to launch. And um, I think it's going to take them getting the game launched on Steam and Quest, and getting it to where it's in a satisfactory state. Whatever updates it's going to need after it's launched. And typically, when developers get to that point where they say, "Okay, what do we do now?" That's when PlayStation VR2 enters the conversation. So I think absolutely that the game will come. I think that the kind of the I mean, they're already PSVR2 devs, right? They've got obviously got a dev kit. They've released the title, so all of that kind of orientation and learning curve that people typically have to go through to bring a game over, all that's done now. So um, it's just a matter of time, basically, is the point that I'm trying to make. Now, with that said, I am quite curious how they're going to be able to bring something this ambitious to Quest 2. And I am a little bit afraid that if they plan to launch concurrently on Quest 3, Quest 2, and Steam, that Quest 2 might delay things a little bit. I mean, do you think it's on? I mean, it's a 32 player lobby, which is crazy enough. And then you
Right.
see all these vehicles and all these moving objects and weapons and explosives and all of this stuff going on. I can guarantee you it won't look like that. Like it's not going to look like that on Quest 2. Um,
Do you think it's going to look
but
this good even on Steam or Quest 3? Like, because it looks like you said, it looks really ambitious, and so far we've known what Triangle Factory is capable of through Breachers, and Breachers looked fine, right? But it kind of looked like a Quest 2 game even on PSVR 2. Do you think they've ramped up as far as talent in the studio or in budgetary factors in order to be able to pull this off? This map looks big. All these any map they're showing so far looks gigantic, like just stretches out to the horizon.
well, it's a number of things, right? Like the big one being experience, right? We've seen it,
Mm,
like Vitruvius, for example, is a perfect example of improvement from one title to the next, just through sheer experience and getting better. Beyond that, the hardware has evolved since they were developing Breachers. Breachers was developed for Quest 2. Uh, and while the new one is supposedly going to support Quest 2, um, Quest 3 and Steam are much more powerful platforms. If they're taking the approach of kind of developing this game on Steam and then porting that to Quest 3 and then porting that to Quest 2, then yeah, it very well could look like that on Steam. And even Quest 3 for that matter. Quest 3 is capable of some pretty nice looking visuals. But I would be shocked if it looked like that on Quest 2.
I see Distracted in the chat saying any cross-play games still coming to Quest 2 is an immediate hype deflation. I'm if I hadn't seen so many games that came out on Quest 2 and also PSVR 2, and then the PSVR 2 version blew me away, then I would probably be in the same boat as you, Distracted. But man, looking at like Propagation Paradise Hotel, for example, looking at Madison, for example, looking at so many games that have come out on both platforms in the PSVR 2 version, it's all up to the developers to really take advantage of the platform. And if they just want to do a quick and dirty port, then they're going to find out real fast that like it probably wasn't worth their time. The developers who put the time in get at least get recognized for it. Whether the game sells or not is a different story. So.
I gotta wonder how many copies that they're actually going to sell on Quest 2, because you've got these developers making decisions to support that dying platform based on the fact that half of active players are still playing there. My question is what are those players playing? Are they playing Gorilla Tag? Are they playing Rec Room? Because if that's the case, they're not going to buy your game. And I got to think, logic, it would stand to reason that the gaming enthusiasts, the people that are that love playing VR games, the people that buy VR games, more than likely have upgraded their headset or are going to upgrade their headset this year. Because I mean, Quest 3S is what, the 3299, 3349. It's not
I
very
think it's
expensive,
300. Yeah.
and it's a way better experience. So I'd be surprised. This will be a nice experiment for us to learn from, as if we'll ever see the statistics on it. But I'm curious to know how many of these remaining lingering Quest 2 gamers are actually buying premium VR games.
Oh, sorry. Distracted was only talking about online games, so he just doesn't want to talk to squeakers. I guess. I guess that's the was the rationale behind that message, and I get it. But I'm very seldom am I going to go play with a bunch of random people. I don't. Although 32 people, 32 game cats, gonna be a little harder to wrangle up all at the same time. So we'll see what happens by the time this comes out. But yeah, man, I totally agree. I absolutely agree. I think this is a good example of the whole Wayne Gretzky quote about go where the puck is heading, not where the puck was. And it sounds like they may be referring to their own data about breachers, saying, "Oh, like half of the people playing breachers are on Quest 2." And I'm like, yeah, are they still going to be playing breachers on Quest 2 6 months from now? That's the question. So, yeah,
That is the question.
we'll let these guys figure it out. Is Flat2VR supporting Quest 2?
Question marks, bro. Interestingly enough, this question came up recently, and I don't know if I should even be talking about this right now, but
Get
the
Eric in
original
here.
version, yeah, right. No, he'll spill it. Um, the original version of the press release that I wrote, I just assumed that we were dropping Quest 2, so I literally wrote Quest 3 and 3S for every title that was on there without even asking. I just assumed that, we're going to be pushing the limits of what's possible as much as we can. But then, it never occurred to me that a lot of these games that we're bringing in are based on older titles and probably could run just fine on Quest 2. Um, but it never occurred to me until I actually had one of the developers, like one of the actual developers, happened to catch a glimpse of my release before it went out, and he said, "Is this confirmed? Are we not going to try to get it on Quest 2?" I said, "You know what? I have no idea. I was just assuming." So I just basically went back and changed the language to be vague about it. So we don't know. I don't know yet which games are going to support Quest 2 and which ones are going to be Quest 3 exclusive. That is still to be determined, but I would imagine that out of what we've got coming this year, most, if not all of them, will support Quest 2, I would think.
The GameCat Andrew Ehrenreich with a $2 tip says, "Sup Wes, sup Brian, sup GameCats, sup Tornado." Where'd she go? I don't know where she went, but I'm for the
That's
first time in my life.
that Cam.
Right? It's like somebody else's apartment. Like, where are you right now? We got Elderly Morning Star with the, oh my God, I do not want to put anybody in timeout. Stop it, YouTube. Elderly Morningstar with the €10 says, "Flat2VR games for the win. All PSVR2 games wishlisted." That is a
Thank
committed
you so much,
gamer right there. Woo.
Ryan. You wouldn't believe how important these wish lists are, and we talked about it a little bit last night on the show. But I always knew that it was important for placement on the store, visibility for your title. The more people wish list, the more the platform holders will highlight your title, which means more eyeballs, which means more wish list, and eventually the theory says that some of those will convert to sales. Um, but since I've been working, behind the scenes in the industry, I've seen so much more that has hinged on these wish lists, and it's way more important. There's a reason why these developers beg for people who wish list their game. I've seen um, I've seen games that were lined up to get grants and funding from certain platform holders, and then have it taken away because they weren't generating enough wish lists on their title,
Wow.
um, which is kind of crazy, right? Um,
It's definitely crazy. Like, I mean, I'd like to know the statistics on that. Like, there's got to be games that have succeeded or like wildly succeeded that had almost no wish lists clicked or whatever. Like, dude, I have been a PlayStation gamer since the dawn of time, since PlayStation became a thing. I was a PlayStation gamer. I don't know how long ago they added the wishlisting option, but I've literally never wishlisted anything in my life. Like, I'm
well,
about
you
as
should
hardcore of a
because it's important.
PlayStation fan as you could be, and I just have never used it. It's just not a thing that I do. Like,
It's a segment on our show every week. Like every week when we do numbered episodes, one of the closing segments is the wish list segment where Roots and I and everyone in the audience, we all go together and wish list the game just to support the developers out there.
nice. Well, that's cool. You heard it here. If you don't, if you're currently like me and you don't wish list a lot of stuff, make sure you go and wish list the things you're interested in. Uh,
Shame.
Help support
Shame.
developers. Null Zero in the chat says, I just watched the Wrath Aeon of Ruin trailer. I was not expecting to see the name 3D Realms. Between this and Postal 2, what year is it?
Right? It's 1993. Welcome home.
Yeah. Not going to lie. I am very excited for Wrath Aeon of Ruin, but I was really hopeful to see a new trailer for it. Just seeing what's been going on since the last time we saw it. I don't think there's been any more information on it since the reveal trailer. But man, you guys had such a presence at the VR game showcase that, like, I mean, I don't. If you had any more presence at the VR game showcase, it should have just been called the Flat2VR VR game showcase
Yeah, yeah,
with friends.
it very well could have been that. And who knows? Maybe one day we'll we'll have our own showcase. We certainly support enough titles to pull it off. But no, Wrath originally was going to be in the showcase actually, and we had some lineup changes as we went along, and um, w- we really just wanted to keep it under 10 minutes. And when it came to Wrath, while yes, it's true that we did reveal that launch window for Wrath, we didn't really have anything else new to show. Like the game's been in a pretty great state for a while, and there's a lot of footage of it out there. Um, so it was just kind of the one that was holding the short straw, and it's the one that got trimmed. But you'll notice, like it's in the blog post, it's in the press release. Like we covered it. We just didn't do a new trailer for it.
Okay, cool. Um, Virtual Resistance in the chat with the level 1 membership says maybe because the squeakers scared us away. I think we're still talking about breachers. Is this what we're doing? Sorry, I didn't get caught up on the chat fast enough, so I think we're out of context at this point. Grandpa's Barbecue or GameCat with the Australian $5 tip says, Wes, for some reason, games aren't showing up on the Australian game store. If you search game title, it will then show up. Oh, it will then show up to wishlist. So pretty typical PlayStation Store nonsense in terms of if you just look through games and sort by the PSVR2 games, it's not showing up. Or if you're lucky enough to have a PSVR2 tab to click on, not all the storefronts have that now, then it's not showing up. But if you search for it, then it shows up. I don't suppose you have any insight into this. This is just a normal BS Sony thing.
No, the only right, exactly. All I know about that is that that happens on the North American store sometimes too. I've noticed it many times myself. When I'm, going through the PlayStation Store and trying to compile some list for the show, and then a title occurs to me that should have been on there and it wasn't. So I'll go back and look, and just to see if I missed it. And no, it's not listed. But then you go up and you put it in the search bar, and sure enough, it pops up. Um, so I would just imagine that there's just some weird jank shit going on with the Sony platform, and let's give it a little bit of time to shake out. And if it doesn't rectify itself after a little while, maybe we inquire about it with the powers that be.
And just to clarify, I think it was Wrath, Aeon of Ruin, and RoboQuest that were announced. I think it was Jasmine's section of the show, who seems really nice. I'd heard her name multiple times. Never seen her, never even read anything that she had said, like an interview or anything like that. She seems to have a really good energy. Seems to really love VR. Nice spokesperson to have. But I think it
Yeah,
was during her
she's
segment that. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say she's our CEO. She is a brilliant person, and you're right, she's very nice as well. She's also a content creator, VR with
Yep.
Jasmine on YouTube. So,
Oh, interesting. Man, I feel like I could just sit here and interview you about Flat2VR and how the company actually came together. But we'll get to that another day. Um, uh, Sorry. So, but it was during her segment where it was revealed that RoboQuest and Wrathaeon of Ruin will both have a fall 2025 release window. Is that right?
that is correct.
Man, that RoboQuest trailer looked fucking great.
Yeah, RoboQuest is really coming along, man. Like I said, Wrath has been in a pretty good state for some time. The Steam version, I guess I should be clear about that. The Steam version of Wrath, and for that matter, the Quest version. Team Beep was working on that title well before we brought them in to Flat2VR, or Flat2VR Studios was even a thing. Um, but um, but RoboQuest, it's really saw some big progress over the last few months, and yeah, it's really coming along. And WYSIWYG, man, what you see is what you get with that, man. It's greasy fast.
Nice. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, again, I hate saying this over and over again, but you read a little description of it, you'd see a short tease of it, and you go, cell shaded, another roguelite.
Right.
Yeah, how excited should I be? And then you start seeing more in-depth trailers, like the one we're showing right now, and you're like, wow, this is cell shading done right. This isn't like, oh, we're just using cell shaded to get to cover the fact that it's low poly. This is an actual legitimate art style, reminiscent of Borderlands. And then you're just like, wow, like it doesn't even, based on what you're seeing here, like my first guess wouldn't have been like, oh, roguelite, right? Because it just doesn't seem like it has that sort of condensed feeling that I think roguelites have associated with them. It just looks like an awesome first person shooter with just like high octane action. This just looks incredible. I'm really excited. Of course, reading the reviews of the flat screen version, it just pumps you up even further.
Yeah, that's the beauty of being in the position we're in and bringing flat games over, right? Like, because so many times when you see cell shading, you have this reflex to it, and the reason for that is because so many studios last gen used that as a crutch to make their game work on Quest 2. And not only that, like uh, people kind of roll their eyes at roguelikes because we've had so many of them in VR. But compared to what like a full featured roguelike flat game would be, the stuff we're getting in VR is just kind of like roguelike light. You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
it's not what your typical gamer would classify as a full-fledged roguelike. So again, that's what's so great about a game like RoboQuest, that it wasn't developed for VR. It was developed as a flat game. So it's a fully featured game. It's a beautiful looking game. And then we of course have our team of experts that are now taking it and making it feel like it was made for VR. So you get the best of both worlds.
While he's now Game Cat, specifically White Tiger with the Canadian $2 tip, says, does Wes look tired or is it the Madison corridor? Dude, Wes,
No,
you always look tired, man.
I'm exhausted. That's not a mistake. I don't just look tired. I am very tired.
Everybody, send Wes a coffee emoji in the chat. He needs to wake up.
Please.
Man, like you guys can see this. Like YouTube desperately wants me to like put users in timeout and whatever. Like these options just keep popping up every time I try to click that I like something. Craziness.
YouTube knows. YouTube knows. You want to ban everyone.
I do. Oh my god, dude. Some days. Some days.
No soup for you.
Waleed also has another tip. Another $5 Canadian says, I have made the decision to buy every single Flat2VR title to improve the chances of Sony first party contract. Arcade Paradise added to PS Premium as well, which is great news, by the way. We'll take the second part first. Arcade Paradise being on PlayStation Plus Premium is awesome news. I had a blast with that game. It was just one of those games that where you start playing and you just don't want to stop. I felt even once I built up my arcade, I kind of wanted to strip it all down and start over from the beginning. Arcade Paradise, just so much fun, man. Just had such a blast and really showed what Nosebleed was capable of as far as PSVR2 is concerned, because they developed the game and then they handled the port, and I think they did a stellar job. I think it had a great look to it. They sacrificed almost nothing bringing it over to VR. Love it.
Agreed.
Love it.
Agreed. Definitely a game that benefited from the immersiveness that comes with the hardware.
We're gonna roll with immersiveness. The GameCat Andrew Ehrenreich sent a $4 cup of coffee. That's some high-end Starbucks shit right there.
Yeah, it's a quad venti white mocha.
Wow. See, you're the kind of person I would go to Starbucks with, and then I would whisper in your ear, I'd go, "Can you just order for me? I don't know how to order here."
Well, for what it's worth, I don't know what that thing is I just said. I just know. I know that's what Roots gets when he goes to Starbucks.
Oh fuck yeah! We're all gonna order the Roots. Hey, can we get Roots to come to PAX East? Is that a possibility? Can
Roots doesn't leave his fucking house, bro. Like he's not coming anywhere. I'll certainly attempt to persuade him, but there's no chance.
All right. So listen, nobody tell Roots, especially if a white van with tinted windows shows up in front of his house one day.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna kidnap him. But
I'm gonna actually get to see Roots next week in the flesh.
whoa.
I intentionally took a long layover on my way back from GDC in Denver, which is where Roots is at.
So because Roots won't leave his house, you have to go to his house. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, I had to take a layover somewhere, and there was like a 20-hour layover in Denver available, and yeah, I kind of threw it out there to Roots and D, and of course D in 30 seconds was like, "I'll come get you. We'll have we'll have an awesome day." So next Saturday, I'll be hanging out with Roots and D all day.
Imzadi says Starbucks is disgustingly gross. That stuff isn't really coffee. Listen, I don't drink a lot of Starbucks because it's like I'm priced out of it. Like I have multiple Dunkin' Donuts within walking distance from me, and I love Dunkin' Donuts. I think living in New England, if you don't like Dunkin' Donuts, you're not a true American. It's just not. Those two things are not compatible with each other. However, I'll drink fucking anything that's brown and hot with caffeine in it. To be honest with you, like I don't even care if it tastes bad.
All that stuff is poison. It's delicious. It's like the most delicious poison, but it is definitely not good for you at all. This has been one of those hard realities of life. My wife downloaded this app last week that lets you go up and scan barcodes at the grocery store.
Sure.
And it tells you all of the additives that are in the food and how they will kill you. And everything is poison, bro. Like everything is poison. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, you only live once, man. You might as well do it.
Yeah, might as well,
Yeah.
I guess, huh?
Williams, William Soloka in the chat says 3 pots a day for me. I mean, listen, I'm just listen. I'm making my own coffee, right? I'm putting grinds into a coffee maker and I'm running hot water over it, and I'm not adding anything to it. Like I'm drinking it black with ice. That's got to be the best way you can drink coffee, right? I'm not sweet. I'm not putting any kind of artificial sweetener or fucking sugar in it. I'm not putting any dairy, creamer, nothing, right? It's like this this is like shooting up like pure heroin. Okay, it's like if you're gonna do it, if you're gonna give in to your vices, then you might as well make sure that what you're doing is the best form of it. That's all.
True that. True that.
I don't know if that makes sense or not. Does that make sense? I guess I should probably grind my own beans too, but I just don't have I don't have the energy to do that.
There's a lot. There's a lot of that going on. I hear people at work all the time talking about the like super premium coffee beans that they get delivered to their house. Like they're dedicated to the craft, I guess.
Yeah, listen, I mean, I don't think anybody loves coffee as much as I do. And so the fact that there are people out there more dedicated to drinking coffee and perfecting the art of making coffee. Like I just don't fucking time in my life for this, man. You know, it's like back when I drank booze. I used to drink a lot of booze. Like I didn't have time to fuck around with beer most days or cocktails. Just carry around the $10 handle of vodka and just drink straight out of the bottle. That's gonna get the job done. That's all I'm looking for in coffee. I'm not looking for the flavors or the aromatics. I'm just looking to fucking wake up. End of story. Grandpa's Barbecue or Game Cat with the level 1 membership says, Wes tired. I think too much time with Mary Jane. Oh.
No, I actually passed on the smoke semi recently for that reason because I was too tired. Like if I weren't so tired, that would be the perfect thing. But if I were to inhale right now, it would just blast me into the next hemisphere.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with weed, I think, currently. Uh, I just waking up is a problem most days. The last thing I need is to be sleepy or inattentive or anything. Although I haven't, you know what? Every time I bring anything up regarding marijuana, people are like, "Oh, well, then you need to have this strain." And then they have some strain that's like that. Oh, this one will wake you up. This one will keep you from being
This is the
tired. Well,
one, yeah.
this one will curb your appetite. So don't worry about getting the munchies. It's like there's whatever you're looking for in a weed. Apparently, there's a weed for you.
Yeah, dude, I smoked weed for decades. So like I think I have a pretty good grasp on what it is, but I never noticed those kinds of differences that you hear people talking about all the time with these strains. Like there was two kinds of weed. There was the one that got you really high, and there was the one that made you really paranoid, and that was it. You know.
Yeah. Apparently, I only ever smoked the one that made you really paranoid. No, I smoked for way too long. Way too long. I don't know. I wouldn't mind getting back into it. It's fine, whatever. Just not right now. Awesome Tatum with the $5 tip says, yeah, Wes kept me up all night too. Thanks, SITN, Strangers in the Night. Love you, man. With the coffee emoji.
Yeah, thanks for showing up. Thanks for everyone who showed up last night. Like we didn't know if we'd be able to get 20 people in the chat, but people showed up like it was a normal episode, like we never missed a beat.
Yeah, I think while I was there was at least 70. And then I think right before I left, I checked and it was like 84. So it was, you guys
we got up to 100.
Damn, they were just waiting for me to leave.
There you go.
That's the crazy thing about YouTube is like you just never know. Like they always say with YouTube, it's all about consistency, right? If you're gonna do a podcast and you're gonna do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then you better fucking do it every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? And then, but sometimes I think it's too much, and so people need a little bit of a break, and then they're really happy to see you come back, and they come back in droves.
Yep. Yeah, we get it in where we fit it in, man. Like I couldn't tell you the last time we did an episode on a Tuesday. Like, that's just when we had time to do it this week. And plus, I mean, it made sense with the showcase and Eric being available and Miles being there. Everything just kind of fell into place for us to do an episode last night.
Noctis is here with his episodic €1 tip. He doesn't say anything, but he sends €1 every episode. Thank you, Noctis.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for everyone who showed up last night for Strangers Night. But thank you everybody who showed up right now, today, here for GamesCast Live. I keep forgetting we're actually doing a show right now. Maybe we should keep moving. We have not even talked about all of the Flat2VR stuff that was there. So since we're kind of on that track, I think we should continue on that track. Bro, this is like legit. I'm looking at my script for the breaking news video from last night, and half of it is legitimately Flat2VR stuff. Can we talk about Shadowgate VR, The Minds of Mythrock? I think was it over 2 years ago, you and I did an episode of Gamescast where we confirmed, because you talked to the developer, we confirmed on Gamescast, it was the headline that Shadowgate VR Minds of Mythrock was coming to PlayStation VR 2. Was this before you even joined Impact?
Yeah, it was before Impact was even a thing. We were kind of talking about this last night too, how crazy it is that things are coming full circle the way that they are. And how we kind of all just got into this as a hobby and made relationships, friendships that have now kind of turned into professional relationships. And this is a perfect example of that. The reason why we were able to break that news, at that time, the PSVR2 version of the game was literally just starting development. They were just getting started on it. And the reason we were able to break that news is because Eric had made friends with the creator of Shadowgate, Dave Marsh. And through maintaining that friendship all these years later, here we are 2 years later down the road. Now we're, we've got our own studio. We're publishing games, and we had the opportunity to pick up this very solid title and finish it out and get it out on PlayStation. So yeah, pretty incredible how quickly things change in life.
So to clarify, when we talked about this 2 years ago, the PSVR 2 port had just begun. Now you may have said this, I might have missed it. I apologize. Are you just picking up the publishing duties on this, or are you actually finishing up the port and like carrying them over the finish line?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
No, it's done-ish. We might tweak it a little bit,
Okay.
but it's pretty close to done.
Okay, but so I mean, should we expect to
we're
see?
We're officially publishers of this game. We might tinker with it a bit before we get it on the store, but we're officially publishers.
Okay, and is this the first game that Flat2VR has stamped their name on as publishers?
No,
No.
Okay. There were others, I want to say. I don't. There's stuff on the Quest store that Shuttle Maze, maybe, or it used to be called Shuttle Maze. There was another title that we picked up in publisher role, which there was one that we were going to publish, and then we took on development duty for that one too, the bomber drone game. But no, I don't think this is the first one. I think this is the first notable VR game, though. The other ones were just kind of small Quest App Lab small projects that we really liked. So
nice. So I mean, so we shouldn't maybe. I don't know how I want to phrase this. I was going to say, so we shouldn't be surprised if we see the Flat2VR logo a little bit more often, because you guys can only develop so many games at once, but you can probably handle publishing duties on a handful of titles at once.
yeah, and I don't want to spill any beans too soon, but there's going to be a lot more clarity with regard to that in the near future. We've been talking about the brand and how we want to represent it. So there'll be news fairly soon
Nice.
on the studio in general.
Okay, guys, you heard it here first. Flat2VR is launching their own headset.
There you go. We're taking it all, bro.
Right?
Hardware platform, software platform, developers, publishers.
Yep, that's it. Dratseb with the $5 tip says, Wes, do they have the rights to Deja Vu 1 and 2 as well? Those in Shadowgate were all great. Was Deja Vu 1 and 2 the same? They were.
If so, it's news to me. But no, as far as I know, Dave is just primarily known for the Shadowgate series, which there were, tons of those games. The game's been on literally every platform from 1980 to present day, now including VR.
Where are my
But
where are my Beyond Shadowgate fans? Come on, there's got to be, and I'm not talking about the new one that was put on Steam that's supposed to be Shadowgate, the real Shadowgate 2. Fuck that nonsense. Where are my Turbo Duo side-scrolling point-and-click adventure Beyond Shadowgate fans? There's got to be one of you in the chat, or maybe it's just me up here. I don't fucking know. Sorry, Wes, I interrupted you.
no, you're good. I don't even know what I was saying.
Oh no. JD Manning with the level 2 membership says, stoked for all the Flat2VR games, but definitely most hyped for RoboQuest. Like it on the flat screen. Sure, I'll love it in VR. Can't wait. Happy West Day. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Man, what else we got here? We got, I just want to jump to the one that was most exciting for me. Little Nightmares 3. I mean, out of sight VR. Bro, that game, I mean, first of all, the trailer made everyone think, no question about it, that this is, hey, look, this is a Little Nightmares game, and Flat2VR Studios logo is plastered all over it. This is crazy. And then it turns out that it's not a Little Nightmares game. And I think you said in the PlayStation blog post, you had called it a second-person game, which there's a lot to unpack here, Wes. This might be the first second-person game ever made, but maybe the first second-person game in VR. This is, yeah. Are we controlling this little girl with the analog stick? Like how does this game work?
Well, again, I can't dive too deep on this, but the premise here is the little girl's blind, right? And she's in a very dark place in this mansion. There are evil people and evil things in there. She would love to leave if she could only see to find her way out. And then one day she wakes up talking to her teddy bear, as she often does. And then she realizes that she can see through the eyes of her teddy bear. So that's kind of the premise here is you are the girl's eyes, and you have to pick the bear up and place the bear in strategic points. It's like a puzzle game, um, almost like Fisherman's Tale 2. There was a lot of stuff like that where you pull your head off and you have to kind of stick your head in a
Yeah,
certain vantage point so that you can see parts of the room, and then go over and work the puzzle with the gamepad style. Um, Now I'm not sure. What I'm describing to you right now is how the flat game works. I have not played the VR version of this game. I'm told that it is a bit different than the flat version, so I'm not sure exactly how motion controls are going to work into it or anything like that. But that's how what the premise is of the flat game.
yeah. I agree with Random Talks in the chat. That is a cool premise. And even though I had read your blog post, I guess I didn't until I heard you say the words and really explain it. Like, I don't think I completely understood how the game worked, right? That this was the placing the teddy bear was such an important component of it, right? Sort of just figured the teddy bear was gonna be where the teddy bear was, and that was the end of the story. But
Yeah,
how,
it kind of moves back and forth between the second person and first person, because during the sequences where Sophie has the bear in her hands, that's almost like first person, because you don't see the girl anymore at that point. You're just kind of walking and looking ahead.
makes
It's only
sense.
during the puzzle solving sequences that 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 there's that separation where you see the character and control her away from you. But I mean, there's stealth here too. It's not all just puzzles. There's some stealth sequences as well. Um, again, like first person. So yeah, it's a unique title.
Um, William Soloka in the chat says Red Faction. Wait, is that what did I read the wrong one? I think I read the wrong comment. He said Red Faction. Cool. Wait, what? Oh, it was the comment right above his from Taunt760. There we go. He was responding to it. He said, please, Red Faction VR. It, so I got to say, Wes, that when you debuted Postal 2 as a VR game, it kind of opened up a bunch of doors in my brain. It made me remember a bunch of IPs from back then, games we considered maybe AAA back then, games that were, you know, big titles then, but maybe not such big titles now. And I was like, oh, is this like sort of the wealth of IPs that Flat2VR kind of has the ability to go back to and resurrect IPs in a sense that like I never even really thought about before. Every time the topic comes up, everyone's got their own, AAA game that they want converted into VR, and it tends to be things like BioShock, right? It tends to be like these really fucking things that are like still somewhat like a big deal now. But like if you say Red Faction, I don't think too many people think about Red Faction and go, yeah, that's a big deal now. But it definitely was a big deal 20 plus years ago, right? And it could be a big deal again. And so that it was really interesting to me to think like, oh, like I'm wondering, it makes me even more curious about what's happening behind closed doors over at Flat2VR. Not to put you in a weird situation or anything like that, to talk about stuff that maybe you shouldn't talk about, but Portal 2 definitely got the gears turning. That's for sure.
Right. So, the things we've been saying since we launched Trombone Champ are absolutely truth. It's I think we all can agree on what the goals are, right? Like we want to work toward those big AAA games that everyone loves and wants to play in VR. And we all know that that is possible with today's hardware. We've seen it time and time again through just what the modders are able to do. Um, but these studios that own these IPs, they're very careful with them, and even if we present them with a very um, like low risk um, situation for them to get into VR, low risk monetarily, low risk to the reputation of the company and the IP. A lot of them are still skeptical. So, you know, buying the games when they come out, wish listing them, these things all help us um, to convince um, some people who might otherwise not have been believers. And when you pair that with being able to bring some of these people in who didn't think that their game would run in VR. And then I mean there's literally been situations where we'll bring in um, the head of one of these studios that has a notable IP, and they walk in thinking that it's not possible for their game to work in VR, and then we literally put the headset on them and it's their game in VR, and mind blown. So this is kind of what the stage we've been in is just kind of making contacts in the industry and showing these traditional game developers what's possible for their titles. And it's again not hyperbole when I say you guys ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. We're not there yet. We're not all the way at the tippy top. We haven't achieved the goal yet, but we have a very clear path there, and we plan to continue to raise the bar every time we reveal um, to hit the next level. And as long as people keep supporting us in the ways that we talked about, um, we're just going to bring more and more of what people want into to all of the VR platforms, including PlayStation.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like I've probably said Portal 2 every time I meant to say Postal 2. I think
Yeah,
I've been
we all know what you meant.
yeah, I think I've been doing that for the better part of 24 hours now. So, and then everybody's like, "Oh man, Portal 2 would have been a great choice." Yeah, we know. Um, yeah, but this is really cool, and I think the reaction's been really positive. This is it's such an interesting choice of a game to bring in because it is a game that is so much of its time. And I'm saying this as somebody who never even played it. Like I had a buddy in college that played it, so I know almost secondhand about this game more than anything else. And I see there's some chat about Bulletstorm VR going on here in the live stream chat.
Well, it's a fair point because they're from that similar era,
Yep.
and they have that similar vibe to them, right? Like that kind of high testosterone, who nobody gives a shit attitude. But I will point out that they're very different games, and I think the primary reason that we went for Portal, or wait, now I'm doing it, Postal 2, is when you think about the concept of the game and what the game actually is. I mean, it's perfect for VR, right? It's a giant open world sandbox where you're literally, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can be a model citizen, or you can chop people in half, blow them up, and the AI reacts to that. Um, all the townsfolk, so to speak, react to what you're doing. Um, so yeah, it's a big open world sandbox with as few rules as possible, down to the fact that you can just go piss all over everybody if you want to. And now in VR, that's that's even more realistic than ever.
Yeah. Yeah, this screams streamer bait to me. Like
Oh yeah.
it's in a good way. Like I think I Am Cat obviously has blown up a bunch of people's YouTube channels and made the game sell amazingly well over on the Quest. I think this is going to have somewhat of the same impact. I think that we're going to see people who typically don't stream VR games will be streaming this in VR. There's a lot of streamers out there who never even experienced Postal, who weren't born before Postal came out. And so this is going to be new to them. And it's so crazy and so over the top. And the humor and the edge is something we don't really see in 2025 or even
I think that's
2024.
why they hacked my blog post up, Brian,
Yeah.
which is
Is
so
that it?
ironic. It's so ironic because like so if you want to do a blog post on Sony,
Here we
you
go.
have to go 3 weeks ahead of time, right? And that's at the latest, and apply. We didn't even think about doing a blog post until we were less than 2 weeks out, and we thought, oh, we should have did a blog post. Well, we've got a meeting with Sony tomorrow. Why don't we just bring it up and see what they say? And they were all in for it, man. They were all about supporting our next reveal, and giving us a platform. Not only with the blog, but I mean they've been putting our trailers up on the socials, and like they've done a really good job of helping support this time and last time. But the thing that really hooked them, the thing that really um, made them interested and want to help us here, was Portal 2 VR. That was the one they were excited about. Um,
Because they also thought
and
it was Portal and not Postal.
right, exactly. Um, but that was the reason that they helped us and were so interested in it. And at the end of the day, after like numerous iterations and thinking that everything was good and approved, we were told it was good and it was approved. Um, when it hit the blog and social media, it was chopped up and shuffled. The blog post, that is, the Postal 2 trailer was just gone. And that blog post, while those are mostly my words, I didn't say it like that. That's not the blog post I wrote. And it's just ironic because the thing that made them want to put us on the blog in the first place was the very thing that made them, we think, the very thing that made them take it down, chop it up, and turn it into something else.
Well, I mean, I would. I'd love to hear the full story about what happened there. Which we'll never hear, obviously, because Sony definitely is not interested in talking to me. But maybe you'll hear something. But as I was saying, it was this is gonna be good streamer bait because it really is like a game of its time. We don't get this kind of humor these days. We don't get this kind of like just insanity these days. This game sold back in the day because it was so over the top and ridiculous. And I do think that a lot of non VR streamers are going to be streaming this game and just kind of will be like, wow, is this what gaming was like in 2003? Like, is this
right?
And the answer is like, no, not really. Like, but there were anomalies like Postal 2 that came along just to push to see how far they could push things and get publicity because they were so crazy, because they were pushing boundaries.
No, I was told today, and I did not know this, that there are countries today where this game is still banned, and people regularly try to get it unbanned so that it can come to the stores there, and unsuccessful for 20 years, which should tell you a little something about what kind of game we've got here.
So, are you going to have an issue publishing the VR version in certain territories?
We're still figuring all this stuff out. We don't know yet. I guess we'll deal with it as it comes. Obviously, we'll be able to get unedited version, and we're not trying to edit or take anything out. That is not our intention. We don't know what the platform holders are going to make us do to get it up on these stores, though. So fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We won't have to do much.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is you won't have to do too much. I mean, it looks like a game from 20 years ago, right? It's like I think in 2003 it was easy to say, "Oh, this looks too realistic. This is unacceptable."
Right.
But in 2025 you look at it and you go, it's all kind of funny more than realistic. So, we'll see. We'll see. Dude, we're still not done talking about Flat2VR stuff. You guys are responsible for where is it? Surviving Mars Pioneer. Does that have the Flat2VR stamp on it?
This is another one we're publishing. We're not developing this one. This again, like we were talking about a minute ago with the Shadowgate thing. This is just a case where a friendship turned out to be a business relationship. It morphed over time. You guys know I've been blowing the horn on genotype here and on my channel since the thing launched. I think it's a hidden gem that most people or a lot of people don't know about, and everyone should play. Um, but literally just a conversation with Bulwark Studios, which have been a friend of the channel for a while now, led to, well, we'll tell you a secret. We're working on Surviving Mars. Oh, tell me more. Oh, let me go grab Eric and tell Eric about it. And then, a few weeks later, we're putting ink on paper. We're meeting with Paradox Interactive, trying to work things out. And yeah, here we are a few months down the road. And our friends are now our business partner, early access, of course, and then PlayStation a little bit later.
And that's which was such an interesting way to reveal it because again, here we are. We're watching the VR game showcase. I'm taking mental notes and actually I guess physical notes too about what games have the PSVR2 logo stamped on them at the end, and then immediately losing excitement for the next SciTech game. So when the Surviving Mars Pioneer and title screen popped up, and then there was no PSVR2 logo on it, I was like, oh, that's weird. Especially since it was a Flat2VR game. So. And is that what it's all about? Is like you guys are just kind of promoting the early access stuff right now on Steam and Quest, and then and then promoting it on PSVR2 later down the line when we're not talking early access anymore.
Yeah, that game's actually it'll hit early access fairly soon.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't if they've started on the PSVR version of it, they're not far into it. So, yeah, that's it primarily. You know, we've said it many times. We want to do everything we can to support PSVR2 as a platform, as developers. We believe in the platform, we love the community, and we want to bring every title if we can to PSVR2. But that's not a promise we can make. Maybe something will happen one day where there's a game we can't bring here for whatever reason. But so far we've kept a 100% track record with these reveals, and this is just another example of that. Like it might be a little while before this one comes to PSVR2, but it's going to be a little while before this one even gets out of early access. So
Yeah. Well, that's fine by me. But it was cool to, to finish off the showcase, kind of have these notions about which games are coming and which games aren't, and then kind of take a little bit of a deeper dive and find out, that if it's possible, Forefront will come. That Memoreum is coming just after the Steam version and after the Quest version. And here, look over on the PlayStation blog, and Wes Dillon wrote an article about Surviving Mars. It's like, oh shit! Like most of these games actually are coming to PSVR 2, and so I think it was easy to, not get deflated about the showcase, but be like, oh man, there were some cool games there, and they're not coming to PSVR 2. Turns out, yes, they are. And Wes, I don't. Did we hit on all the Flat2VR games before we move on here?
let's see. We got that one. We got that one. That one.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
we got them all.
Well, listen, like I said, this is the third video in 2 days regarding this showcase. I really wanted to make sure we touched upon all the stuff that you guys had your hands in while I had you here on the show.
Well,
I don't think there's any. Well, no, thanks for being here. I don't think there's any reason to cover everything else again, unless there's anything that you want to talk about specifically. But I did want to
there's
ask.
a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
I think the showcase in general was a great showcase. One of the best VR showcases we've had in a long time.
Yeah, possibly ever. It covered a lot of bases, covered a lot of platforms. The quality of games was all over the place. From smaller little indie mixed reality stuff to Hitman. Like that's just not something we see all the time. At least over here, the reaction was overwhelmingly positive. There was a couple people that were like, "Oh, all shit games," but those people were going to write that no matter what. But so like, what have you seen over on Virtual Strangers? What have you seen over at Impact? Has the reception been like?
Well, I'll say this during the stream itself. While I was lurking, I was tuned into your channel. I was working, so like I wasn't able to like really pay attention to a lot to what the chat was saying or anyone else for that matter, because we had clients in this thing as well. So I had to make sure press releases went out on time, and make sure our stuff went out on time. So I was distracted through a lot of it. Well, I can say over at Impact, primarily paying attention to our titles, we've seen a lot of positivity, as in like we've got posts out on social media that have hundreds of thousands of views on them, tens of thousands of shares, and doing very well from the kind of social media zeitgeist perspective. But in general, yeah, I think in terms of like Flat2VR specifically, like it's 90%, 95% positive. Of course, you're always going to have your one here and there that want Grand Theft Auto now, you know what I mean? And there's always that person that has their expectations out of check and always gets deflated because nothing ever quite lives up to what they were hoping for. But for the most part, people are really happy with it. I got to say, there was a lot more hype around Out of Sight than we were expecting. We kind of thought that Postal 2 Postal 2 would be everything, right? Like we thought that would be the one that everybody's talking about, and a lot of people are talking about it, but a lot of people are hyped for Out of Sight as well. And of course, RoboQuest, giving people this fresh look at RoboQuest, and it's so fast paced, you might not realize how much new stuff we actually showed in that trailer, but It's way progressed beyond the reveal trailer and what was in there. We're showing a lot of VR specific mechanics and stuff in that. Um, so we're getting a lot of positive feedback on RoboQuest as well, but we expected that. We thought people would love it when they finally got to a good look at it, and that is seeming to be the case. So yeah, I think people are fairly positive in general about the showcase, from what I can tell. But the truth of the matter is I've been so wrapped up in work that it's hard for me to kind of judge outside of the Flat2VR stuff. It's kind of hard for me to judge what people are thinking about the showcase in general.
Yeah. Well, speaking for myself and apparently for Jamie, because we streamed the show yesterday, uh, it seemed like the game of the show for both of us was Out of Sight. Like we were just both kind of blown away by that. We're both really interested in, both really wanted to have a Little Nightmares game in VR, which leads us directly into LA Hembre D, 2-year Underground Stranger Game Cats level 3 membership. Says, hey Wes, will you use Out of Sight as a pitch to the Little Nightmare developers to bring those official ports to all VR platforms? As always, thank you guys.
It's certainly possible, absolutely possible. That's something that has been proven to me time and time again since since the studio started. Is these guys are they're always 2 steps ahead of what I think is even possible. Every time that they reveal something to the team that they've been working on, it's always way far out and beyond where we even thought we could be at this point. So, yeah, things like that are possible. Obviously, um, no, I can't talk specifically to any of the games that we're negotiating with or have signed, but not revealed yet. But yeah, we're talking to a lot of important people in the gaming industry about a lot of different games that we could possibly end up working on.
Wes, getting back to the just like the impressions that we had about the VR game showcase uh, and how good it was. I mean, I know I gave it an 8 out of 10. I don't know what it would have needed in order to get a higher score than that from me, uh, but I think a lot of people are in the same boat as, say, Chrome Colossus here in the chat, who said, the more I think about the list, the higher caliber it seems to me. I was initially just bummed about Forefront, and it spilled a haze over my first impressions. I
Mm.
think I think that was for a lot of people. I think people got really excited to see Forefront. People were excited about the next game from Triangle Factory, and it looks crazy ambitious, especially for a VR game. And then it didn't have the PSVR2 logo at the end of it, and we're like, is this really what we're doing right now? Is this really what we're doing? And I agree. It definitely brought the excitement in the room down a little bit. But I've seen it from multiple people saying, at first it wasn't. I didn't think it was that great of a show. And then the more I reflected on it, watched it back, heard you guys talk about it, watched the breaking news report, whatever. It's like, wow, that was good. We don't get these kind of things for VR very often, right? I don't think we've had something this good for VR since Sony's very first State of Play back in 2017 or whatever it was, that just had nothing but PSVR1 games. So honestly, I think, shout out to Jamie Feltham. He's only done a couple of these, and the fact that he's kind of just getting started, and already has this level of VR games in his showcase. I think it says a lot, and now
Yeah.
I guess we're all really excited for the August one now.
Yeah, this was a textbook example of what a VR showcase should be. I mean, he led off with AAA footage of a game that everyone is hyped about. Or like for me, and we've talked about this before, it's hard to get hyped for a game that you've played before, especially a game that's come out time and time again, and uh, always it seems like a little short of the goal line. But they put a trailer out here, basically reminding us that this game's coming in a couple of weeks, and in 1 minute of gameplay footage showing us that they have realized the dream. They're finally fulfilling that promise that they made to PSVR gamers all these years ago, and bringing the game that everyone wanted then. Now, so now I'm starting to get hyped for that, and what a way to kick off the showcase, because you've got this AAA game showing new footage, getting everyone hyped. You've got like a number of new game reveals from notable studios, whether you're talking about the Forefront or you're talking about Titan Isles, which, by the way, Titan Isles is probably toward the top of my list in terms of the games on this showcase that I'm hyped for. I think that game looks outstanding.
Wait, let's not
Um,
move on from that. Let's not move on from that.
okay.
I don't think I've ever even downloaded the trailer, but I want to know why, Wes, because listen, I know it's probably easy for me to dismiss it and be like, oh, no PSVR2 support. Fuck you, John Hibbins. But
You know he's going to bring it. He's going to do like he did with
yep.
Windlands 2. It'll just eventually make it over, you know.
Yeah, no, I 100% think that you're right and that that's a thing, and I'm total faith in that. But I want to know why you are even remotely hyped about it, because the trailer that I saw looked like reused assets from Windlands 2, and this here it is, SciTech Games' first game in 7 years, first new game in 7 years, something along those lines. Why are you excited about this? It looks like Windlands 3
Okay.
with Windlands 3 characters.
Yes. Yes, I love Windlands 2. Windlands 2 is a fucking awesome game. And you know what? What this essentially looks like to me is SciTech took the things that made Windlands 2 better than Windlands 1
Mhm.
and just expanded them to the nth degree to make like a spiritual sequel that that really just kind of leans into the movement, to the combat, to the co-op and the story, like all the stuff that you really loved about Windlands 2. And it's not just an asset flip. Like, first of all, like it, the visually there's more detail here. It's not this, it doesn't look like Windlands 2. It's got a similar like aesthetic to it, but it's
Agreed.
certainly more detailed and better looking. Um, Beyond that, this isn't just a grappler. There are 4 character classes in this game. One of them, of course, is a grappler with a bow and arrow. So you've got your Windlands character class, but you've got another guy that's jetpack. He's got a jetpack and a certain weapon. There's another one that has like Iron Man, like uh, where you kind of use your hands to fly around. I don't know what that would be called, but each there's 4 character classes. They each have their own weapon, and they also have their own method of locomotion and flying around through the air. So you've got jetpack, you've got the hand jets, you've got grappling, and then the other one has like a triple jump. So all very similar but different, right?
Yeah.
And I think that sounds great. Some of my favorite experiences in VR are the ones that really kind of take the training wheels off and let you fly around everywhere and battle midair. I mean, um, I think this is going to be what made Windlands 2 great to the to the 10th degree. Like I think that this is just going to be kind of perfection of that idea, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Listen, I will withhold my objections to this game until I see more of it. Uh, I'm just I guess I was just surprised. I think I was hoping they were reinventing the wheel, not iterating on the wheel. And it probably makes the most sense for a studio of their size to be iterating and not reinventing. So it's yep. Listen, if they had called it Windlands 3, I don't think you'd hear me say have any complaints, right? And I've just been like, oh yeah, more Windlands. It's like more and better Windlands, just like Windlands 2 was Windland 1's. But you know, I think that's the way I need to look at it. I need to kind of look at this as Windlands 3 instead of like their first new IP in 7 years. Uh,
Yeah,
it,
yeah, it's like the Returnal thing, right? Like the Returnal dev. Everyone loved Returnal. It's one of the best games I've ever played.
yeah,
But then they came out with this new title that's not Returnal, but it's kind of Returnal,
it's
and
kind
I
of
think that's
eternal.
awesome.
Yeah. Chrome Colossus in the chat says, why isn't this one on PSVR 2? It's, the same reason Windlands 2 wasn't on PlayStation VR until forever later. It took like 4 years or 5 years or something for Windlands 2 to get to PSVR 1, and then a couple more years for it to get to PSVR 2. Like it's SciTech's a small studio, right? They can only do so much at once. So I think that's I think that's your reason. We'll get John Hibbins on here. John likes to come hang out, and we'll we'll pin him to the wall and ask him the hard questions when he gets here. It'll be fun. I like to torture John.
That game's going to be so fun. Like triple jumping and shooting, blasting things in midair. Like it's just going to be fun to play.
Listen, I said it on the live stream when they first revealed this. I said that pushing the jump button in Windlands in 2016 on PSVR1 was the first time I ever jumped in VR, and I was like, holy crap! Like every other developer was scared, and SciTech wasn't. They're like, not only are we not scared to let you jump in VR, we're also going to let you fucking grapple around the entire world, right? Prepare to lose your lunch. It's time to grow your VR legs, Brian. Yeah, and it worked. It was like, this is amazing. So they may listen. Yeah, I might give SciTech a hard time. I might give the trailer for Titan Isles a hard time, but I have nothing but love for SciTech games, and really, really hope that their next game is killer. I'm have the trailer playing for Memoreum. I don't think you guys need to hear me say this. It's one of the games I'm most excited about because we've wanted Dead Space in VR, and the fact that we didn't get the PSVR2 logo at the end of the trailer, and then finding out later that it is actually coming, I think that worked somehow in my brain to go, oh, this is even better than if it had the PSVR2 logo printed on the trailer. It was like this disappointment that was like, oh shit, it is coming. Like that realization was better than just finding out that it was coming all along. I don't know. That's how I am. You just want what you can't have, and then when you get it. We got Scott, the PSVR Game Cat for life with the level 1 membership. Says, what? 47 today. Oh, 40. Wait, no, it can't be Scott's birthday. 47 today. Hold on a second. 47 today. I can't wait to play Hitman as aged 47. It feels like it's always Scott's birthday. Am I wrong about this? I feel like his birthday was last week too. Maybe. Is it your birthday, Scott? What's happening?
Happy birthday, Scott. Happy birthday, VR Spry Guy. It's always VR Spry Guy's birthday on my channel. So
damn,
Scott can be your Spry Guy here.
Damn. You know what the fact is, it probably was like Scott probably told us last year when it was his birthday. And the last year legit feels like 3 weeks ago sometimes. Like it just, the older we get, Wes, the faster the days are going by.
Brother, you are not lying.
Damo the Down Under Game Cat with the Australian $5 says, random, Chernobyl again is 65% off. Worth it? And the coffee for Wes. Wes, I'm going to owe you like $50 when I get to PAX East. Like, here's all the coffee people have sent you. Chernobyl again. Listen, man. That game was fucking crazy broken when I did the Brian Bite on launch day. They fixed most of the bugs, so you can actually play through it, and the game-breaking bugs shouldn't be there anymore. You can actually solve the puzzles. Things should work properly. But man, that reprojection, like something super, like reprojection is bad. You know, like when people, a lot of times, like the 60 to 120 reprojection using Sony's reprojection system, it's just, it can be rough sometimes. Sometimes you don't even notice it. And then sometimes, like in Chernobyl again, it's like everything is stuttering and just making that reprojection a million times worse. Like it was making me kind of motion sick to play it on PSVR 2. Like, so that's the only thing I would say is that, like, hope maybe they fix that. Maybe they didn't. I'll have to go back in and check it. But man, that was the roughest part of that game. So just be prepared. If you buy it, you better have an iron stomach. All right, Wes. I feel like we covered enough. We talked about the show. We talked about Flat2VR. We did a lot of stuff today. We both have other things we need to be doing. So let's do a 4-minute challenge and get back to our real lives. You ready to do this thing?
Yeah, I guess.
All right, cool. You guys know how this works. Wes has picked out a PSVR 1 or PSVR 2 game, and it's up to you guys out there and me right here to figure out what PSVR 1 or PSVR 2 game that is. We have an infinite number of yes or no questions, but only 4 minutes to ask them in. So please, out there, help me. Ask good questions, and then give me good suggestions on what game it might be based on the answers we get. On your mark, on my mark. Get Des. Go. Is this on PSVR 1?
Yes.
Is it also on PSVR 2?
It is not.
Is it on other platforms other than PSVR?
Yes.
Okay. Non-exclusive PSVR 1. Is it a sports title at all? Like, you do any sports type things in it?
No.
Do you do any driving or controlling of vehicles?
Maybe. I can't think of a specific instance of it, but it would not surprise me. If I had to bet, I'd say yes, but I can't
Okay.
think of an instance.
We'll go with
of
that. Let's see. Is there any multiplayer?
No, there's not like direct multiplayer. There might be
Okay.
some leaderboards or something, but
Okay. Going generally single player then. GameCat Andrew Ehrenreich is asking if there's puzzles.
to some extent, although I wouldn't call it a puzzle game.
Some puzzles. Ali Embry D says, is it coming to PSVR 2?
It is.
What? Wait, hold on a second. We should be able to answer this right here. I thought we were done. with the PSVR 1 ports. What other games are still coming from PSVR 1 to PSVR 2? Oh, that's a good point. Did we talk about this game on the show today?
We did.
Motherfucker.
Busted me.
Is it Hitman World of Assassination?
It is absolutely Hitman World Assassination. Well done. By the way,
That's
Scott
phenomenal.
got it in one question.
Well, it must have
I
been
think
his
it was
birthday
Scott.
wish.
I think it was Scott. Maybe it wasn't someone else. Hold on.
Yeah, let me scroll up because that's crazy that somebody would have gotten it that fast. Alex Blanco said, did it sell big?
Yeah.
Somebody's in on the joke. That's good. Oh, yes. Got the PSVR GameCat for life. Literally, as soon as we started, is it Hitman VR?
Yeah, it was. You know, I didn't know that it would come up and be such a pivotal point of conversation. And had I thought, I would have picked another game. That's why when you asked me if I was ready, I was like, yeah, I guess I'm ready.
No, that's
But
good,
yeah.
man. That's good. Made me laugh. I like it. All right, you guys. We're going to get out of here, but thank you so much for hanging out with us for yet another discussion about the VR Games Showcase. It was a good one. Make sure you tell us.
Next week when we talk about the upcoming lineup from Flat2VR Studios and Arcanade Sales Big.
There you go. I'll just make the thumbnail right now because we're ready to go.
I'm going to be at GDC next week, Brian. We haven't really talked about whether or not we're going to try to do a show, but it might be difficult. I might be here next week. I might not. But I will be demoing VRIDER for PSVR2. I know I'll be doing that at the very least while I'm there.
And that's VRIDER SBK, right? This is the actual motorcycle game, not the V Racer
No,
hover bike game.
Yeah, not right. VRIDER Superbike, not V Racer hover bike.
They're so familiar. I mean, they're so similar that I got to really stop and think before I say which one, or I'll get the So you're gonna be demoing that like on the show floor? Is that nice?
Yep. Developers are going to be there for some Q&A. And
wait, what headset?
Yeah.
What headset are you demoing it with?
PSVR2. I'm the new PSVR2 version of it on the floor there.
Woo-hoo. You guys, it's happening. It's so exciting. I can't wait. It was I had some weirdness controlling it on the Quest. Just kind of getting used to the controls. But I'm really hoping that like I spend more time with it on PSVR 2 and get acclimated to it. I can think of all the different.
There's a ton of options for controls and just the kind of level. It's a proper simulation. So like you can make it super realistic. You can make it kind of arcadey or anywhere in between. So yeah, like I think the default controls lean more into the realism side, and they do take some getting used to. But if you have a hard time kind of acclimating to it, you can absolutely go in there and like switch everything up and make it much easier to play.
Nice. As we talked about this a lot when it was first getting announced for PSVR 2, and the one thing that I desperately want, other than like adaptive triggers and everything else, is when my head is up above the windshield. I want headset haptics, and then when I put my head down, I want those headset haptics to disappear. That's the ultimate thing that I want in this game. I don't care what the frame rate is. I don't care if it's got dynamic foveated rendering. I want adaptive headset rumble. That's what I want.
I agree. And if it's not there, I'll pass on this message.
Hell yeah. We'll figure out next week. Ace Gamer Cat says get Jamie to be on next Wednesday's show. We'll figure it out, man. There's obviously if you're going to be gone next week, then that means Miles is probably going to be gone next week, which means that I don't think AJ wants to do 3 shows next week. We'll figure it out. We've got an amazing cast of characters. I have a lot of great friends in this space. But hey, you know what? Let me know in the comments below who you want me to ask, because I haven't got to hang out with Alex VR in a while. Haven't got to hang out with Skiva in a while. Haven't got to hang out with Ryan.
There.
Fuck. Okay, we're out of options, you guys. It's just Jamie all fucking week. That's it. Let me know who you want me to ask in the comments, and try to find out if they're going to be at GDC first, so you don't waste my time. But all right, let's get out of here, man. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We love you so very much. Appreciate everyone who contributes to the channel. Sirens on my end by donating on patreon.com/withoutparole games. I'm trying to talk over the sirens. I didn't know I was going to compete with those today. People who are members over here on YouTube, people who tip during the show, we love you all so very much, but we're just happy that you're here. Thanks for hanging out, being part of the community. Make sure you join us over on Discord. Make sure you subscribe to Wes Dillon and his friends over at Virtual Strangers, and get caught up on like 1,000 hours of podcasts. Who knows what you might have missed over the last couple of years, but there's a lot there to get caught up on. That's it, guys. Y'all have a great Wednesday. We love you all. Happy Wednesday, Wes.
Bye. Happy Wednesday, Brian. Happy Wednesday, cats. See you next time. I don't know when it'll be, but
eventually.
I can't wait.
Let's go. Magic the Game Cat in the chat says, get Sofa King, Mama Cat, and Dez. Oh, how crazy would that be to have just a full week of Midnight Gamescast co-host returns? It would be fun to have them on. I can't lie to you. It would be great to get caught up with those guys, but not a single one of them has played VR since the last time you've seen them on this channel. Oops, what just happened? Why am I back on camera? Fuck, what the No one should trust me with buttons, Wes.
It's all falling apart.
It's all falling apart. You want to see what's happening in this week in VR in Without Parole history?
Yeah.
Cool.
Find out.
Me too. Let's find out. Yeah. I got it. I had to move everything to my backup hard drive, and so it takes a little while for it to all load up. We'll get there, man. We'll get there.
It's all falling apart.
It's all falling apart. It's okay. We'll put it back together, just like Humpty Dumpty. You won't even notice all the cracks and the scratches. What's the date today? The 12th. So let's get as close to today's date as possible. Come on. Here we go. We can do 2022, 2021, or 2024. 21, 22, 24. I don't know where 23 is. Oh, there's 23. We could, any one between 21 and 24. You tell me.
Let's do 23 because I think I might know what it is, and I want to find out.
Wait, what do you think it is before I bring it up?
It's me from GDC.
Oh, well, let's see. Upping the ante for indies, Lo-Fi on PSVR2. Plus the Elysia beta next month. Oof. So that both headlines are about games that have not made it out yet. On any platform, really, technically. If you consider Elysia, it's that MMO is not officially out on any platform, right? It's just early access or beta still.
It is, but it just had a very significant update.
Okay.
And they've got a clear roadmap to kind of finish it out very soon. So Elysia is actually in a pretty good state today and getting better every day.
Oh, that's really good to hear. Do we know anything about their PSVR2 roadmap? Is that a thing?
Now that I don't know. I've got a direct line to those guys. I could ask them, but I have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, next time you're shooting the shit with them, figure yeah. And then of course upping the ante for indies lo-fi on PSVR2. This at one point we did get a trailer for this on the official PlayStation YouTube channel, if I remember correctly, probably right around that time we headlines with this, with a 2023 release window. Right? They were like they said coming by the end of 2023, I believe.
Yeah, this is an odd one, right? Because Blair, the developer, has gone silent for a little while, and
has he?
He's not the silent type. I mean, I haven't noticed him popping up in my Twitter feed for a while. Have you? Like he's typically all over the place. And I know that the last kind of 2 or 3 updates that he gave on it was very much in line with the game's not done and I'm running out of money.
Yes.
So it makes me wonder if he's kind of decided what direction he's going to go. He laid out a bunch of different paths that he could take to acquire funding on the last kind of big communication that he had.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder if he's chosen one and is just now head down working to get it done, or if he's still in that kind of state of indecision about what to do and just kind of laying low until he figures it out. Typically, GDC is a place that I would run into him. So hopefully I'll see him this week and I'll just ask him, what the deal is with it.
Yeah.
I have the utmost confidence that he's going to finish it and it's going to be awesome, but I really don't know what the state of it is today. I couldn't even begin to speculate.
Yeah, I have that confidence too. This is one of those games that the gamers are always like Aces of Thunder or whatever it might be, just like, oh, it's never coming out, right? Even despite the years and years and years of work that have been put into it, all the love that's been put into it. They're just like, oh, well, it's not out yet. We haven't heard much in the last 2 months. It must not be coming out. It's canceled, right? No chance in hell. No chance in hell that this game is coming out, and it might not come out this year or next year, but it's coming out, and it will probably be good because, as cocky as Blair can come across on Twitter, he's obviously a very talented developer, and he actually has. I mean, he hasn't been showing up in my feed either. I wonder why that is. But I did just look him up, and he has been tweeting and reposting his own stuff. And if I remember correctly, Wes, please no one quote me on this. I remember that whole deal with him saying, I ran out of money. I need to hire literally a coder, a programmer. He's like, I'm more of an artist. And if I remember correctly, I think he secured funding somehow. And so I'm betting that what you said is probably accurate, saying that he's got a plan of action. He probably found funding, and now it's like time to put the head down and get back to work. So hopefully we'll be hearing more about this soon enough. Although, just crazy, dude, just for a trailer to come out and this says, coming by the end of 2023, and now it's the beginning of 2025, and you're like, really? Still nothing? Okay. Guys, Wes froze like 20 minutes ago, and I didn't even realize. So we're going to get out of here. Love you guys. Good night.